This is Pillar 1 of Lifestyle Medicine, Plant Predominant Whole Food Nutrition with Dr. Ilyadis and the Damianos of Counter Culture Beachside. So now I would like to introduce to you pastry chef Lisa.
That's me.
We are going to do a wonderful dessert display for you today, and I would like you to know that it is, again, healthy, plant-based. So now I'm going to give the show to Chef Lisa.
A lot of antioxidants. That's what we're looking at. And, you know, remember anything with a lot of color, you know, purple potatoes. We're doing a beautiful purple sweet potato tart or pie, however you want to call it. We're going to start with, I think we'll leave the potatoes first. Let's make the crust and get that over with, and then we'll kind of play with the actual sweet potato tart, okay?
Okay.
So really what's cool is, you know, there's a lot of pie crusts out there. You know, you use butter and more butter and some salt and more butter and cream. So we don't really want to do that. We want to have something kind of earthy, hearty, awesome. There's a couple different really good nuts out there for us to use in the whole food plant-based world. And plant-based world, almonds is definitely one of them. Walnuts, you could, you know, there's nothing to say that you can't substitute. If you don't have a liking for almonds, you could switch this out with walnuts. You could even do hazelnuts and almonds, you know, any kind of nut really is really good. But this particular one, and almonds are so good. And if you can get them raw, not salted, you know, with skins off, it's better all the way around for you on that. So we have 2 cups of these wonderful almonds. We have medjool. This is all the crust is these 3 ingredients: medjool dates and a little bit of either vanilla extract. I found this, it's a vanilla paste. Oh, okay. So it just has a little bit more consistency, and I find it really good in this crust. You get a little sticky, which is nice.
Very simple crust.
Very simple crust, very easy. And medjool dates, you know, you can use any date. You know, the smaller dates, if you do use the smaller dates, you're gonna do a cup of dates. So if you use the smaller dates, then you're gonna probably wanna do, I think a 1 cup gave me about 10 dates, whereas the smaller dates, it may be more like 15 or 16 dates. So I just went 1 cup, depending on what kind of dates you have. And the medjool dates, most of the time, they'll have the pit in them. So you want to make sure you get the pit out for sure. So you just kind of open it up. And if your dates are a little stiff and hard to get in and you're having a hard time with your fingers, just take this, put them in a little bit of warm water. It doesn't need to sit for any more than a minute. Okay. And just, you know, drain the water, and then boom, you just open these right up and the pit comes right out. Okay. So that's that.
Does it soften the fruit as well?
Softens nicely, easier for you to do the pureeing that we're going to do in our Cuisinart. So all the way around. But you also can just leave them at room temperature if you don't want to get them wet, and you know. But really, either way, it's fine. So I'm going to take these 3 ingredients, and I'm going to go over to my food processor, and I'm going to puree it up and make a beautiful crust for you. Okay?
Or this vanilla
paste. Or
this
vanilla. But you know where I got this? I'm not going to lie to you. I saw it at Sam's Club.
Oh, okay.
About died. Because normally I go on Amazon or something, because we are in a smaller town and we don't have a lot of resources sometimes. So I have to go on that. But in this case, I didn't have to do that. I saw it right at Sam's. So I'm just going to take my nuts, put them in there. I'm going to do a little puree, just to chop.
Now, is there any particular consistency that you're looking for?
Yes, we don't need it to be a fine crumb, because we love that texture, but we want everything nicely blended. And the way that I tend to do it is I'll kind of feel, and if I can kind of put together in my fist and it sticks together like that, that's a good consistency.
Good.
So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think I'm going to go just a second more. Together.
Oh yeah.
And that's really it. So now that mixture all come together.
Awesome.
And you can see, boom, there we go. So we're going to take this, my hands are clean. We're going to take this. And honestly, what I do is I just dump the whole caboodle over here in there. And I'm going to show you, get all those ingredients out. You want every morsel Almonds are so good for you. Oh my gosh.
I love almonds.
Another antioxidant, fiber.
Oh yeah.
You know, I just kind of smooth it out, and I take my fingers, these 4 fingers right here, and I just go up against. This is a removable tart pan.
Okay.
So this comes right off, as you can see.
Look at that.
Yeah, see that? So that it's good when it's all done. You just pick the whole thing up, and you're done. You serve it. So I just go around with my 2 fingers. This one outside, this one inside. I go around and I push everything kind of towards the rim to give us a nice, beautiful crust. Simple, nothing crazy. I gotta tell you, if I can, and I'm a classically trained pastry chef. I've done it all, and if I can find a reason not to make a crust and roll it out, this is me right here. I am that type of a person.
That is awesome.
But
and I think I would want to be that type of person too.
Right? I mean, it's just too much.
Nothing that's too labor intensive, for sure.
Right, that's right. I have a crust that I make that does have a little vegan butter in it.
Okay.
Because here at the restaurant, we do a little bit of everything for everybody. And as much as I love whole food, plant-based, and I eat that at home, I don't try to push all of that on people, you know. And so I do a few things that have a little bit of a vegan butter, and same thing. I do a shortbread, English shortbread, that's just very delicate, and I just press it in, and I don't have to roll it out. But this is a really good go-to crust. Literally anything. Let's say you make an apple pie.
Yeah.
You make this crust.
You make this crust.
Right. Okay. Exactly. This is the most. Make a pumpkin pie. Christmas, yeah. But Thanksgiving's coming up, and either fresh pumpkin or canned pumpkin, real pumpkin. Don't get like get the pure pumpkin puree. Get that, and make this as your crust. You don't have to bake it. It's a raw crust. And I know the word gets you get a little nervous when you hear raw, but there's no eggs.
No.
There's nothing in here that can make you sick, so it's raw in the sense that it doesn't need to be baked. All right, so you just kind of make sure that you cover the bottom of this.
This is fun for the kids too.
It is totally fun to get the girls, get the boys involved and say, we're gonna make a pie.
Yes.
And they won't even know how to act. All right, so as you can see, we've got a nice, beautiful crust right there.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna get my towel here so I can clean my hands off a little bit. So we'll put that aside until we need it.
Okay.
And now we're gonna go ahead and start putting together our ingredients for our actual pie. So these right here are the purple potatoes that I was talking about. And I'm gonna show you a couple different things. When you roast, you can certainly roast the potatoes. And in the recipe that's attached, you're roasting them. And they usually take about maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes in the oven, aluminum foil. Always make sure that you either prick with a fork or a knife. You don't have to go deep. You just want to pierce the skin, kind of go around, and just, what's going to happen is you don't want them to explode. You want to allow some air to seep out while they're cooking. All right, so that's what you would do. You just put them in aluminum foil, put them in the oven, roast them about 40 minutes. I am very anxious. So I really want to get things done a little quicker. So one of the things I do is I found this, because I'm a potato head. I love potatoes, and I invested in this, a whopping $13. I got it on Amazon. And this is a microwavable. So if you have a problem with microwave, then go ahead and roast them. But if you're in a quick hurry and you'd like to get this done a little bit quicker, then this right here is all you do is you take the potatoes. I would take probably half of those, prick them, put it together, and that's it. Put it in the microwave, and let's say you're putting 3 or 4. They have a little guide and everything, but it's really only more than 6 minutes, really. Okay. And then when it's all done, it's you pull it out, let the steam come out, and let them cool a little bit, and then you're just going to go ahead and peel the skin right off. Whereas when I roasted them, I felt like I needed to cut it and scrape the contents out. Whereas I did this, and I just was able to. It just came across, and this is what it ended up to be.
Awesome.
Isn't
look at that
neat?
Purple color.
Purple, look at that beautiful color. I mean, you can't find anything better than that. So, I mean, the color is just crazy. So that's what we did. So that's a little tip that I wanted to show you if need be. And I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna put them in here because we're gonna use this as kind of our free-for-all. Put everything in here, and then we're gonna go back to the Cuisinart and we're gonna puree it, okay?
Awesome.
So we start off with 1.5 pounds, believe it or not, that's 1.5 pounds. And you know, if you want to do a little cutting, because make it a little
easier.
Yeah, on your food processor.
Yeah.
You know, depending. So if you don't have a food processor, get one.
Yes.
That's definitely a good Christmas present to ask for.
For sure.
High-speed blender you can also use, and the high-speed blender, it really makes it also blends beautifully and soft. But you know, you really want to have either one of those. The beaters you probably could do, but it might be a little messy.
Yeah.
This is a firmer root vegetable. Even though it's cooked, it's still a little
Still
firmer.
gonna be firm.
Yeah,
Yes.
so those are the two that I would suggest. All right. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to get my orange zest here. And this is a zester. You can pick this up, again, anywhere. Just make sure the grain is going away from you. And you don't want to get that pith in there. You just want that outer orange zest, but then it'll start getting bitter.
Oh, you can smell it.
You can smell it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
We're in Florida, so use the oranges. And I'll tell you, there's nothing better than sweet potato and that orange essence. It's just the best. And you're really going for a tablespoon of zest. Guys, I gotta tell you, you can't go wrong with a whole orange. I think you probably have a little bit more than a tablespoon. Just go ahead and use the whole orange.
It's great when you can see the color and you can smell the food.
Not the
All the
best.
senses come together.
Oh my gosh, it really is. You know,
you can enjoy your meals.
Well, we eat with our eyes. You know, it definitely you want it to be aesthetically pleasing when you're looking at something. You don't want to look at something brown and nasty. You know, you want to do that. It just kind of tells your taste buds, okay, here I come.
Yes.
I'm ready.
It's time to eat.
It's time to eat, and that's what we're doing with this. Then we're going to do a little cut.
And then
We only need 1/4 cup of juice. And what I do is make sure I don't have any seeds in there. That's what's sometimes good about these juicers, is you'll wean out the seeds, you know. But you're just going to pretty much one orange will give you 1/4 cup. Even 1.5 to 3/4 of an orange. So again, nothing's gonna go wrong. I'm like literally putting my hands in there, literally. So I want every bit of that. I want to taste that orange.
Oh, so you're using that whole orange?
I'm using the whole orange.
Okay.
It's 1/4 cup.
Okay.
So I have found even when I use my juicer, I need the whole orange. You know. So I just squeeze, get your muscles going here, and just squeeze as best as you can.
Hey, that's physical activity right there.
This is another thing. Not only antioxidants, and what's that word that I can never say?
Isanothionein.
Yeah, that's that one.
No. I don't think
it's
we
a
said it
hard
right.
one. I can't even.
Anthocyanins.
That's it.
Yes.
These sweet potatoes are high in that for sure. Which again is just one more thing good for you. Now, plant-based milk. If you want to use almond milk, oat milk,
cashew milk, oat milk,
So we're just going to add our plant-based milk, 3/4 cup. We have, I just brought things because I wanted you to see how you could just get all these ingredients at the store. Almond butter.
Almond butter.
You can also get the squeezed, almond butter from the stores.
Yeah,
You know,
I like
Sprouts
to crush my own almonds.
There you go.
And make my own butter. And same thing with the peanut butter.
Same thing with the peanut butter. There you go.
And you can do that at Whole Foods.
Yep, exactly.
And I think you can do it at Fresh Market as well.
I think you can.
Okay.
At Fresh Market, we're here in town.
Yeah.
Sprouts is when I lived on the West Coast, and between Vegas and Colorado, they always had a Sprouts, Arizona. So I always tend to kind of go there. I think we're getting Sprouts here too. So that would be nice.
I think so too.
That's what I heard. So get about 1/4 cup of almond butter. So again, just get every morsel of it that you can. All right, and then our sugar, I use a brown coconut sugar.
Now, could you substitute this with things like the other sweeteners like agave?
Yep, a maple syrup is really good, a pure maple syrup.
Okay.
And, even though this says 1/2 cup of coconut sugar, if I was using maple syrup agave, probably wouldn't even go that much. I tend to cut way back on sugar.
Okay.
I just do. I just don't feel like we need all that sugar. I measured this out. It's a little under 1/2 cup because that's just me. But, if you want to follow the recipe, make it the way I make it. And then if you decide that you want to do a little less, then do a little less. But I got this. I think I did the same thing. I got this probably at sprouts. And my spices, cinnamon, so go ahead and use allspice if you like. So these are all the spices that we have. And then last but not least, arrowroot. If you don't have arrowroot, you can use cornstarch. It's a thickener.
Okay.
And it's really good for.
I don't think I've ever heard of arrowroot.
No, arrowroot powder is just the same as the two. It has a tendency, if you were to use arrowroot in I don't know, just about any baking good, gives you a lighter texture.
Is it like a cornstarch?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. They do the same thing. If you have something that you have cornstarch and it's a tablespoon, 1 for 1. You could do 1 tablespoon of arrowroot, same thing. Or this is 2 tablespoons, you could do 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Okay, I'm gonna do a tablespoon and another tablespoon. Okay, so now that we've got all of our ingredients in there, looks like a nice little mess there, doesn't it? But when it's all done and pureed, we're gonna pour it in there. So I'm gonna zip over here and do that in there. Okay. All the last
Yummy.
Scrape it as you can smell it. You smell everything in there.
Every ingredient.
About that silicone starch.
All right, so let's go pulse it.
Now you don't want it too liquidy, right?
I have made this where it's more custardy.
Okay.
Like. See how it's like that?
Yes.
It's kind of that pureed mix. And that's about where you want it. If you want to get it smooth, you want to make sure you pureed the potatoes. You want it pretty smooth.
Right, because you don't want any chunks.
No, it's just no fun. It's okay in mashed potatoes, but I think we're good. See how it's a pretty color? Look at that. So now we are going to just remove all of this contents. Now there is, everything is cooked here. So it could be a raw pie. The only problem with that is that when you cut it, it may just a little bit go, That's why I put the arrowroot in there, because it's a thickening agent.
Yes.
You put it in the oven for 15 minutes at 350, not very long, just to tie those ingredients together, long enough to get the arrowroot so that it's working and, it's thickening. And when we cut it, it's gonna stay intact, which is what we want. So that is why I added the arrowroot. It's not like it needs to go for very long. And you can see it's nice and smooth. Get every solitary morsel of it you can. I'm big on that. I used to teach, it's like, oh, look, in the bowl, there's more stuff.
There's more.
Get that out. Time is money, money's time. It's all those ingredients, we want them in the pie. All right, so there we have it. And then we just do a little smoothing.
Make it all look pretty.
Yeah, that's all. When
So
we're all
just
done.
a little question.
Yeah.
So desserts, obviously, they get the bad reputation.
Yeah, they do.
When
so
we're
do I.
trying to eat healthy,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So the question is, how do you bring the joy back into healthy eating while we're making something that's a dessert, something that's supposed to be sweet and palatable so that people love it and and want more of it, and they're not subjected to like, oh, let's get I don't know, a slice of cake or something like that.
I know, because we all, we all revert to that.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. When when we were at the other place, I would do good and evil desserts. And when I did good and evil, everybody was like, life's too short. I need to have my dessert. And I was like, all right, that's fine. Well, try that. And then you have a few people that went for the evil or for the good, and those were cool people. Like, that's good that you're trying it. It got to the point I feel like I had to prove myself, and that's okay. People would try it and go, oh my gosh, what's in this again? And I'm like, no white sugar. That's how I am all day long. No white sugar, no cream, no butter. And they look at you like, how could that be good? more people now are accepting that. And I really believe that the reason for that is that diabetes is so rampant in this country.
Right.
And they're told they cannot have anything sweet.
Right.
This particular thing is so low on the glycemic index that you can have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
And it's not fair that we have, that we can't eat a little something sweet. We've done a lot of damage in our life to our bodies, and
that's
I get
our comfort.
it. Right. That is our comfort. And you get very frustrated when you get that taken away.
Yeah.
So, find places that make that stuff for you. There's not a lot of them, unfortunately.
Right. Or we can make it yourself.
That's my point. Just look up plant-based desserts. There's so many resources out there and so many books that you can just pick up, and you can learn to say. You can also look at maybe a family recipe. This has always been a big passion of mine. Is that you look at a family recipe and you're like, like anything, a pie or something, and say, well, I want to make this, but it's just I can't because it's too much sugar. So know what you can substitute for.
Right.
So if it says a cup of white sugar, oh geez, then number one, you don't need a cup in anything, and that's fine. So that's where you start taking away the cup, but to add the sweetener, add maybe a little agave. Do a blend maybe of pure maple syrup and agave.
Right.
Pureed dates.
Yeah.
And depending on what kind of consistency that you're making, but start learning substitutes. And we our AI, and we can go into so much by just looking at just substitute for this. Eggs. I don't use eggs. I don't even remember last time I cracked an egg.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody comes in and says, "Can I have a cake with eggs?" All right, that's fine. But instead of an egg, that I would use a flax egg or a chia. I would ground chia, ground flax, whatever, either way, and 1 tablespoon of flax or 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, and you mix it to 3 tablespoons of water. Put it in a little cup. Let's say the recipe just calls for 1 egg. Then do the 1 tablespoon of flax, 3 tablespoons of water, mix it, set it aside for about 5 minutes. It gets gelatinous.
Yeah.
Very egg-like.
Yes.
That is an awesome substitute for that. Even this arrowroot powder is a substitute for egg, vegan egg. So look that up. Elisa said, I have this arrowroot. What am I gonna do with that now? Yeah. So look it up. How can I make a vegan egg with arrowroot?
Right.
And everything's at our fingertips. So when you see something, and like I said, you might have a family recipe you really want to play with, but you want to make it a little healthier. Just get on that computer and look at it, or call me. I'll tell you. But either way, that to me is how you can have your cake and eat it too.
We live in a society where it just seems like everything that was given to us in terms of foods and the things that we're used to every single day, it's damaging us.
Yes.
We're finding so many more chronic disorders, so many chronic diseases that, probably 50, 60 years ago, it wasn't really a main thing.
And it's why people are dying.
And why people are dying very young,
very
young. The colon cancer is in the younger, population. So what we're trying to do is not take away people's good meals, but substitute it for healthier things, healthier options that are out there. And you will find a difference in the way you look, the way you move, the way you sleep. And this is the reasons why we come together to talk about things like this and how to change it. Because it's one thing for me as a physician to say, eat healthy. Do the healthy thing, go in, exercise or do whatever it is, go have some sleep. But if you don't have a foundation of what to do, and no explanation of what is it that's going to help you eat healthy, what can I substitute, what can I put in my mouth that's going to make me feel good and feel like I'm full for the day, how am I going to get my protein if I'm going to, work out more, things of that nature, then I'm doing you a disservice if I can't give you that information.
I agree.
And so this is why we do this, to give you the information of what you can do to substitute to make yourself a little bit healthier for today and tomorrow.
This is the final product, because all I did with this is I baked it in the oven for 15 minutes at 350. That's it. So that would be baked. Then I came out, I have a dehydrated orange that I dehydrate in my little Ninja I told you about.
Yes.
And then little raw almonds on there, just to kind of bring together the fact that we have almonds in the crust and we have orange in the pie, and we just cut a piece. And, and if you want it, there are plant-based whipped creams out there, or you could even do aquafaba, which is the juice of the can of the chickpeas, and you drain that and you Whip that
Mhm.
with a little bit of maple syrup,
Okay.
and you can create a nice little kind of whipped cream or coconut milk. Also,
Mhm.
that thick part of the coconut, turn it over, put it in the refrigerator, open it up, and take don't take the liquid stuff, take that white meat
Mhm.
and add a little bit of that maple syrup in
Yeah.
there, whip that up, and it's a beautiful
Oh,
whipped cream.
wow.
And then you're not doing the dairy whipped creams and
Right.
stuff, you know, or the processed
So it's
kind of whipped
processed.
creams and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And that's what we have. Isn't that fun?
That looks great.
I know, I love it. I'm so
Can't
excited
wait
for
to
you to
eat.
try it. I
Yummy.
know, we have a lot to eat tonight.
Well, thank you so much.
You're
I
so
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.